Hello, everyone, and welcome to this very special event. Today, we are joined by Beth Damaris, also known as Swarna Bhairavi, her spiritual name given to her by Dr. Pillai, actually this year. She has a very special connection with Swarna Bhairava, the god who is known as the Shiva who gives gold. And today we are joined by her in order to experience a gold immersion meditation and mentorship session. And Beth is going to give us a presentation on how we can really connect more deeply with Swarna Bhairava in order to receive his rich blessings. We'll also be doing a meditation, and then we'll tell you a little bit about a new program that Swarna Bhairavi is hosting, and we'll be together for about an hour. So we will be answering your questions. Do post them in the chat. And now I'll turn it over to Swarna Bhairavi. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Lakshmi, Gina. So it's a great honor to be able to be a channel for Swarna Bhairava to come into all of your lives. Dr. Pillai blessed me to have this relationship with Swarna Bhairava, and he blessed it about 20 years ago. And then only in the past sort of 8 or 9 months has he brought him back into my life. And now I understand why. It's because Swarna Bhairava, Swarna Bhairava, we call him as well, is also Kala Bhairava, the god of time. And this is the time when we need him the most. This is the time when he's coming to usher us into the new age, which is, I mean, it sounds like a new age. It sounds like it's going to take forever for it to happen. But if you've been watching Dr. Pillai's videos, it can happen any moment to any one of us. And that is also one of the hallmarks to the Bhairavas, to Kala Bhairava, is that he can, according to the scriptures in the Shiva Sutras, he can make you enlightened immediately. So he has a whole range of gifts and blessings that he wants to give humanity at this time. And this is the time where he's come and he's so active here on the earth plane to be able to give those gifts. So we're going to do a quick presentation, and Ronnie, if we could load that up. And just so that you all can have a little bit better understanding of who he is and get involved. Now, it's also evolving. So Swarna Bhairava, we completed our first program with him about a month and a half ago. It started in March, April, May, and June. I think that was the end of it, was June. So now we're kind of moving into another program with Swarna Bhairava. And what's so interesting is that none of this is stagnant. It's dynamic. He is changing so quickly, along also, of course, with Dr. Pillai, and the teachings are evolving, his powers are evolving. All of the sort of things that we've come to him for in the past are still there. It's just they're coming in new ways. So we're going to kind of immerse you a little bit into that experience today. And I want to give a little background for how this evolution is taking place so quickly. Next slide, please. All right. So it's a golden consciousness time, and we're inviting this very special form of Kala Bhairava called Swarna Bhairava to come down to the earth plane. This is what Dr. Pillai has mentioned many times here. So Swarna means gold. Arkshana means attraction. And Bhairava is a name for Shiva, and happens to be Kala Bhairava's name as well. And that Kala Bhairava is known to be, I think, a little bit more, he's a little bit more of a ferocious god. He gets rid of fear, he helps and speed up time, and he's a great protector, basically, of those who worship him, of those who are devoted to him. And Swarna Bhairava is just another form of Kala Bhairava. So they have both this Swarna Bhairava has both of these characteristics in him. So why is he coming now? I just touched on that a little bit. He's coming at this time in the world when the earth plane is shifting from Kali Yuga to Sati Yuga. So it's from an age of darkness to an age of light, an age of truth. And this all is very personal too. So I don't know, I know if you've been following Dr. Pillai on YouTube and in his other programs, he's talking a lot about this and that it's coming and it's speeding up. It's not something that's going to take a long time. It's actually here now. We're in the Sati Yuga. And what Swarna Bhairava is doing is giving us this golden consciousness. This is the ability to be able to absorb this new age and kind of be prepared for the full blessings that the Sati Yuga can have for us. And a lot of that is abundance and prosperity. So that, of course, is his hallmark, since he's the gold attracting Shiva. But this is a time where he's going to prepare us, but even more than prepare us, he's going to transition our consciousness. And this is all through what I'm sort of getting from him. He's going to transition our consciousness to a new consciousness, and he can do it very, very rapidly. And with that new consciousness, of course, comes the attraction of prosperity and abundance and a few other things we're going to talk about. Next slide, please. Okay, so the blessings of Swarna Bhairava. Of course, he attracts wealth. We know that in the name. He also can help us live in the now. He speeds up time. And this happens in a couple of different ways. One, he will help you in your mindset be able to not put things off like, oh, I'm going to make money in December. No, you can make money now. Or I'm going to go buy that house in February next year when I have the money. If you put into your consciousness, the power of this new age can actually manifest our consciousness faster. So if you put into your consciousness, I'm going to get that house right away, then that house can come right away. And he has known to, this speeding up time actually has another factor to it. And that is when he's blessed, and this has been the experience I've had and the experience other people have had too in the program, he blesses like this. Oftentimes it's unexpected. And many times it's so fast and it's complete. So it's not nothing that's going to take a long time to build. It comes like that. It comes in a phone call. It comes in a meeting. It comes in you being led to do something. So it's all very, very fast. He bestows happiness and bliss. And he does this because he removes heart sorrow. He removes suffering that we have at a very deep level. And he replaces that with this really incredible bliss and happiness. And later on, if we get to it, I want to tell you a quick story experience I've had within about a week of being reacquainted with him, with this bliss, which was just incredible. And he teaches faith. Now, this is different. So faith, we feel like faith, as Dr. Pillai has said, is actually not natural to us. But it's more than that with him in faith. And that is, we go and we pray to him for faith. But then I have actually witnessed him teaching people about faith, teaching them very personally about their own mindset and how they can change their mindset to embrace faith. And I saw that in the people in the last program. There were several people, and through some of my intuition, I understood that he was really working with them day by day, and they were aware of it as well, to help them embrace faith, trust, belief. Like I said, it's not something natural to us, so it's something he can give as a blessing. As a God of time, his timing's precise, and it's no mistake he's coming now in the world. And this isn't just for the world, this is for you. This is for everybody here. So this is what he's doing with a consciousness perspective. Time and space are together, so he can help you change to a better space very quickly. He did this for at least 2 people in the program, in the last program, where he helped people, or his blessings whether it came in their consciousness or his blessings. Of course, it's all the same, but he helped them move into apartments and houses that were all came about at a time that they really needed it. Next slide. So how does he work? He guides us, and in the beginning, when you start working with him, and you can start working with him from today. Even if you've been working with him in the past, you want to pick it up and start again today, and you can chant his mantra. You can use the meditation that I'm about to give as well. So he guides you to speak at the right time for the right result. He brings the right people to help you prosper and succeed, and he will let you know when to act for the right result. What's really interesting about Swarna Bhairava is he does this really subtly in the beginning. You don't know why you're getting up. I had this experience where one day I was at my desk and I got up and I went over to look for something in my bag. I had no idea what I was looking for, but he was leading me. And when I got to my bag, I actually found a gold piece that I had lost about 6 to 8 months prior. So it's really interesting that he can work so subtly. And so he's Shiva, right? So he has a very subtle vibration initially. Then when you start to work more and more with him, and you start to bring him into your life, you can actually experience him in a more visceral way, where you can actually understand when he's working in your life. So that's how he works. And where is he? So this is one thing that is really, really important. He lives outside you, and he also lives inside you. He also lives in the sun. And there was a thought I had that if we call on him and pray to him, he may be able to help us with the climate change as well. So this was just my intuition a couple of days ago when I was writing out this presentation. I thought, I think he's going to help with this climate change. So he's here now, right? He's here right now. He's there with you. He's waiting for an opportunity to bless. He's non-judgmental. There is, he will, of course, only bless for things that are good for you and good for others. But he's not judgmental at all. There were things that people have put prayers forth that I have been blessed to also put forth to Swarna Bhairava. And I thought, wow, okay, that's great, And he blessed them with it. So he has just as long as it's something that, as I mentioned, is going to be good for you, it's going to be good for other people. He has no judgment. And he's always there. He's right here. He's just on this invisible realm. So he's your comforter. He's interested in what you're doing. And he's with you wherever you go. You are actually never without him. And we're speeding through this presentation, I know, because it's a presentation. But the profoundness of that, if you afterwards sit and remember one thing after all of this, and that is, he's right here. He's right here. I just have to reach out to him. I have to invite him. All I have to do is say his mantra. All I have to do is speak to him. We're going to get that in a couple more slides about how we bring him into your life. And since he is the God of time and space, and time and space are together, he can work very easily in this physical dimension. Next slide. So what is golden consciousness? What does that really mean? One thing in this list of golden consciousness is what is the gifts that he would like to give and bless people with. One is pervasive love. This is an ever-expanding love. It's unconditional. He has it, and he truly wants to give it to us, and that will be the state of the new age. So he wants to start giving us all of the goodies, all of the things that we're going to receive and experience in the new age. Infinite compassion, incredible. Sometimes I mix up compassion and love because I'm not sure which one comes first, but it's palpable, put it that way. Abundance and prosperity in all life areas. So finance, of course, we know that, and he's a performer god. He has done a lot of blessings for people on the finance side. Relationships, he's also Shiva, so he naturally will get rid of karma for you, and a lot of karma. We hold a lot of karma in relationships, so he likes to mend relationships, particularly between family members, and he likes to bring people into your life who you have known before, who you've had a good relationship with. There's some energies synergy between you and them. There's some chemistry there, and he will do that to bless you. And his blessings take on a couple of different forms. We'll get into that in a moment. Health. So there were people in the last program who had experiences with health, with healings and things that they were having trouble with and had trouble with for years. I too have also had a healing from Swarna Bhairava. And he also gives health in another way, and that goes back to the happiness and the bliss. Spirituality. So he's Kala Bhairava, and the Bhairavas, as I said, have this ability to also give instantaneous enlightenment. So he lives in the sun. He will give courage, leadership, intelligence, power, self-esteem, and confidence. Faith in God and faith in yourself. We just spoke about this. This is something where he's going to teach you about faith. If you want the teaching, otherwise he can just bless you with it. But we pray to him. That's one of the fundamental prayers for Swarna Bhairava. We pray to him for faith. Things can happen fast. He has this now consciousness. You've heard Dr. Pillai say, I want it now. So that is very much his consciousness. In the Shiva Sutras, if any of you want to go a little bit deeper on Swarna Bhairava and understand more, you can read this book, the Shiva Sutras. It's an amazing book. It will go deep into Shiva's consciousness and how he manifests. The tagline for Shiva Sutra is also the supreme, the yoga of supreme identity, because he does effortless creation. And Bhairava holds, this is a quote, Bhairava holds within himself the entire universe. And so while saying the mantra that they actually give in the book, it says a mere orientation of your will, and you'll have the complete identification of I and Shiva, meaning you just have to shift your consciousness a little bit and you become God, basically. And that is what the golden consciousness is about. Next slide, please. Tips to activate Swarna Bhairava. So he is real. Swarna Bhairava is real. He's a real person, and he has emotions, and he has intellect, meaning he has omniscience, omnipresence, omnipotence. But he still is a real person. And this helps because we have to relate to archetypes. And sometimes that's hard for us because we can't see them. And many times we can't hear them. But if you visualize him and then understand that there are these emotions that they have, and they truly, he, particularly in this regard, and what we're talking about today, truly wants to bless in these ways. So you can say his mantra. That is the primary way to call his energy. And you can also offer yellow flowers to his photo. I think his photo we have in the next slide. Speak from your heart when you need help with him, meaning, as Dr. Pillai says, not in a robotic way. So what I have found is not only Swarna Bhairava, please help me with this thing that usually it's one kind of emotion or something that I need to get rid of. But if you can go even to a deeper layer while you're praying to him and understand why that might be happening, why you have that, in your um, in your karmic field. If you can just go one layer deeper, then I have seen him come and remove the whole thing at once. So his blessings will be abound if you not only put forth what you want, but you also go a little bit deeper on that. And then think in your own, kind of go into your subconsciousness. Why is this happening? Ask for his help. Ask, ask, ask. That is that's affirming to him that you expect that he's there and that you expect he's going to do something for you. And that if you take the responsibility for your life totally, and you say, okay, everything's on me, then the God is not going to intervene. But if you put the responsibility on him, then he'll take it on. And he has a skill set that's, quite beyond what our skill sets are at this very moment. So it's really advantageous. Pray for someone who's difficult in your life. Don't just pray for your friends and your family who you get along with. Pray for people who you have difficulty with. And this does something to the heart. All of these things actually do things. They open up our heart and they allow us to have a connection that is beyond our normal sort of daily human connection of how we connect with our heart. It actually opens it up to a new dimension. And if you want to practice on calling on him to cultivate your faith, you say his mantra. This isn't the meditation, but we're just going to do a quick practice. You say his mantra, and then you look around you, and if you look in the space around you, kind of go inward. Don't focus so much outward, and feel his energy. We're going to get into the meditation on this. Kind of feel his energy around you, and you will feel it. You will feel a presence. So we're going to go to the next slide, which I believe is the meditation. Okay. So this is about a 5 to 7 minute meditation. Go ahead and close your eyes and put your hands with your palms facing upwards like this. You can see me. Go ahead and take a deep breath and gather yourself. Try not to have the mind wander. Put your focus on the back of your head, just to gather yourself so you have a point, the back of your head. And now we're going to send a stream of golden light into your right eye. And I'm going to chant his mantra for both eyes, but we'll start with the right eye. So send a stream of golden light into your right eye. This is a luminous, sparkling stream of light particles, golden light particles. Om Swarna Akarshana Namaha. And now, with your left eye, send a golden stream of energy, of light particles into your left eye, and let it fill your left eye. Om Shri Swarna Akarshana Bhairavaya Namaha. And now, take those two beams of light in your right and your left eyes and send them to the back of your head. So you can send them through your head together, and they will meet at the back of your head. If the third eye is a place where you can sort of bring it to, then that's fine too. Om Shri Swarna Bhairava Namah. Shri Swarna Bhairava Namah. And now feel a presence. Keep your focus and your attention on the back of your head and your third eye. And feel a presence. Feel a presence on your body, around your skin, or on your hands. You can feel an energy there. And now, imagine, because it's happening, Swarna Bhairava is standing right in front of you. His golden form, his golden energy is vibrating. You can feel his energy, his vibration, as he stands just in front of you. He has a form of golden light. He has a crown of jewels. He has golden locks cascading down his shoulders, a crescent moon, a vertical third eye. He is Shiva. And his hands, coming from his hands, which are together, is a stream of gold coins. Keeping your focus in the back of the head, he is now sending and pouring those gold coins onto your hands for abundance, for prosperity. Om Shri Swarna Bhairava Namah. Om Shri Swarna Bhairava Namah. Om Shri Swarna Bhairava Namah. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Namah Shivaya. So that's the end of the golden meditation. And it's good, as I mentioned, to relate to him. So when we use the description of his form while focusing on our third eye, I can bring that energy, the form, into our third eye. And of course with the golden coins too. So that's exciting. So Lakshmi, are you there?
Yes, what a beautiful meditation. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So you were telling us a little bit about your previous program and how it was you were happy with how it went. Can you tell us a little bit about some of the results that some of your folks have experienced?
Sure. Um, Maybe I'll also talk a little bit in the categories that I mentioned before, which was, finance or wealth and relationship and health and
Yeah, and I want to preface that by saying people don't need, you've given an introduction to on how to connect with Swarna Bhairava. And this is a path for them to now begin to engage with him and use these tools and rewatch this session and use this meditation. So that's something that they can use as well. So folks, you don't even need to join a program in order to invite Swarna Bhairava into your life and hopefully have him become really real to you. And then I invited, I wanted Swarna Bhairavi to give us some examples so that we can kind of ground into what's possible for us. That's really the intention behind that. How can we be transforming? How have people transformed already? Let's use these tools that we learned today to do that. So just as that as a preface, can you help us understand and help us know what could be in store for us?
yeah. So I'll give a few examples. Well, one example was with me, and as I mentioned, was a gold. I went one day and I was led to a place in my bag and I found gold. But I wasn't the only one. There were a couple of people in the program who actually had the same experience where they had found some gold that they had lost. He had done a lot that when he works, he likes to work through relationships. So he often does financial blessings through relationships. And there was a woman who had a business that she was pursuing, and he basically out of the blue, basically she got a call that said, "Hey, I'm the son of your mom's friend, and I'm looking for someone who can help me distribute my product in your country. Can you help me?" And it was literally like that. I mean, it was just totally out of the blue. And that's, as I said, a lot of times he works unexpectedly and immediately. So that was one way where someone came into her life and gave this opportunity of a new business venture. I know someone else who he does a lot with recovering money, recovering things that you may have lost, and someone, or loaned, or investments that you haven't gotten paid back on. And there was someone who had loaned some money to a friend about 4 years ago, and he got it paid back and some extra as well. So that was unexpected by him, and he was pretty thrilled about it. There were people in business who had opportunities to have new contracts. There was, that's more on the prosperity side. There were people who came into people's lives, either as a family member or as a friend, and helped them get very quickly into a new dwelling, into an apartment or a home. There was one woman who worked, she had found actually access. She had difficulty getting to one of her investments for years. Actually, there was some roadblocks on actually accessing that investment, and she was able to get in serendipitously and get into that particular account. There are people who also, he works with property, so people who had some property that was kind of stuck, he got it moving. He got some people in to take a look at it. In relationships, I've noticed that he really will mend a lot of family relationships, and he does it over an activity. So people will be called together to do something, whether it's a property or whatever it may be. He will go and kind of work on those relationships. And a lot of this isn't even what you're, most of these people are praying for other things. And then he does this, which is something that is a little bit out of the blue, but it's what people need as well. And one thing I wanted to just mention about that, there was something that happened to me where I had bought a non-refundable airline ticket, and it was an expensive ticket, and then I got sick. And when I wasn't well, I was thinking, my God, I'm not going to make this flight. So I went back into the airline, and I started looking. I'm like, oh, it's non-refundable. Okay, well, maybe there's something I can do. When I feel better, I'll call them and see if there's a way I can get out of this non-refundable airline ticket. So the next day, I was feeling better, decided to go back in, and the flight had been canceled and the money refunded. And that was a total miracle. And I knew that was Swarna Bhairava because I wasn't even asking for that. And that's what he did. Um, there were some health blessings as well, where people who weren't quite so mobile actually had the ability to be much more mobile than they were. And I'm going to kind of I'm going to kind of stop at that.
Great. Yes, I did ask folks to post questions in chat. So we have a couple. One person says, can I chant the mantra every day? If yes, how many times?
Definitely, you can chant the mantra every day. You can chant the mantra all the time. Um, I would, how many times? I would do more than 108, put it that way. Um, 100, and it's just you can get some relationship with him if you chant 108. But my experience has been, and the people who I've observed, kind of been in the program who really went for it, they were able to establish an even deeper connection with him.
Super. We have another question. Are there any power times associated with this mantra?
Swarna Bhairava is active on the 8th moon. That's not the only time he's active. Today, right now it's Pradosham. It's Shiva's moon, so there's no mistake in that. But yes, it's the 8th moon, generally Sundays, because he lives in the sun. Monday, Friday, new moon, and full moon. So there are a lot of days you can access him. You can access him actually on every day. I remember asking Dr. Pillai, when's a good time? And Dr. Pillai said, every time's a good time. So it doesn't even matter the day or the time, but yeah, he's very available.
That's great. Someone's asking about the program. We are going to talk about that next, but I did post that in chat and pinned it to the top for those of you who want to look at the page that has all the details for the new program that's starting. So why don't we, actually, we have one more question, then we can move into the program. Can several prayers, problems, requests be placed at once or one request at a time? So can I pray and say, these are all the things I want, or do I have to do one at a time?
Yeah, I think this is an answer, maybe the same answer for many archetypes that we pray to. So you can definitely put forth all your prayers, but you're going to have better results if you go one at a time. So, because when you have a prayer for something that you need, if you put them all out there, it can be robotic. That was the thing I was talking about earlier, which means you just kind of automatically say it like, these are always my prayers and I need them all. Mm-hmm. But if you take one and go deeply into it and even ask him, and that what I said about that conversation with him, I had that experience. There were several people in the program who also did that, where they went deep into the prayer that they had. And they kind of, basically, you're kind of doing your own mind mining, but you're looking into your mind and you're saying, yeah, why is this happening to me? And then immediately you'll get a release from that. You may bless. I don't want to say you're definitely going to get that, but I'm just saying that that's the kind of thing he really likes, is when we, because it's karmic, right? So when we go in and we want to kind of unwind our own karma too and understand it a little bit better. So that's why I'm saying, if you go one at a time and make it thoughtful each time, and try and dig to a deeper level about why it might be happening, then you're going to have the better results.
Great, thank you. And then Lise said, when I was with you and Swarna Bhairava last time, it was so miraculous, and I'm so looking forward to this. So Lise was in your program previously and letting everyone know it
Yep.
was miraculous for her.
Thank you, Lisa.
Do we need to get initiated in order to chant this mantra?
That is what this program's about. So,
Okay, good.
yeah.
Great segue. Why don't we shift into that? So tell us about, so I'm really excited because we had this wonderful program that was done, I think it was 3 months in length, had a really good turnout for it. And it was very specific to individualized sessions, right? So in order for folks to join, it was something that they would have to pay a little bit more for and have an individual sessions. We have that again, right? With your current, but you're also offering some group mentorship, group fire lab, which is new. And I'm excited about this because I think it'll help reach actually more people and be accessible to more people. So tell us about the new program.
Great. We're going to have, yes, okay. So the Golden Consciousness Mentorship Program. It's a combination of fire labs, teaching, coaching, and rituals. So the first thing is this fire lab thing. So the Swarna Bhairava, I think for some of you, of course, I know Lisa, you've been here already, but a lot of you have had experiences with fire labs and calling on archetypes. Swarna Bhairava is highly activated by fire. And he, when we first started doing this, calling on Swarna Bhairava, that was the first thing Dr. Pillai introduced to us, was you got to call on him using fire. So that's one of the most powerful elements of the program. I mean, of course, like fire, we're using the fire god, and that's the quantum energy of actually creating something. So Agni, or fire, takes, in the quantum world, takes quarks and binds them together, and that's how matter happens. So when we take that higher vibration, or that higher consciousness of a god, Agni, along with Swarna Bhairava, then we're bringing something together that will create matter. And that's really one of the primary reasons why the yogis set up fire labs way back when. But he's highly activated. There are oftentimes messages, more and more messages are coming, intuitive messages. And it is something that people can also feel at home. So in other words, it's a prayer session, it's a meditation, it's a fire lab offering, but it's also ends up being a bit of an energy transmission from the fire to you at home. So some people have been able to really feel that energy. Next slide, please. Thanks. So the second component is, and by the way, the fire labs are both group and individual, depending on the level. Divine guidance sessions, and these are teachings. So I've built a syllabus that is progressive and builds on the previous month, and these are teachings from Dr. Pillai. So they're going to give a deeper understanding about what prosperity and abundance consciousness is, how we can attain it, what might be in between us attaining it. Time, we're going to talk a lot about time because Kala Bhairava is the god of time. And Dr. Pillai has talked a lot about time. It's one of his favorite topics. And, we've all heard, time is an illusion, but it is something that can be created. We can create any kind of time we want, and Kala Bhairava will help us create and control the time that's in our lives. Time meaning not just a vague term of time, but time to get something, or time to acquire something, or time, it's destiny, basically. It's how quick we move through our life and what we can do with that life. So, and then we also get a new, hoping that in the teachings, we're going to be talking about how to create a new golden identity. So from the Shiva Sutra book, I'm going to be pulling some teachings from Shiva Sutras. And of course, he says it's the supreme identity. And Bhairava talks about effortless creation and getting to your truth, getting to your God self. So the teachings are going to happen monthly. And they will be, as I mentioned, selected teachings from Dr. Pillai. There will be coaching sessions, which are one-on-one, on some of the upper levels. And this is a spiritual guidance coaching session to remove obstacles. And the whole thing is how to create this golden consciousness so that all of the things you mentioned, whether it's wealth, the person who just asked about all that, can I put all my prayers? But whether it's wealth, whether it's, health, whether it's relationship, of course, it's good to focus on one and really kind of go for it. But that he can touch every one of our areas of our lives. I do recommend that you come to the program, though, with something you really want to do. And that makes the program just more quantifiable, more measurable for you. And so this is spiritual guidance to remove the obstacles around whatever your goal might be, whatever your intention is, and to develop a personal relationship with Swarna Bhairava. He connected with everybody and does connect with everybody very personally. And so everyone is different. Some people will have one experience with him. Someone else will have another experience with him. He'll touch some part of your life, and one person, another person, he'll touch a whole nother part of their life. So it's actually exciting when we get into the coaching sessions. So, and then also in the coaching sessions, not only is it coaching if it's his will and is intuitively guided, then occasionally there also could be some messages coming as well. So we'll see. Next slide, please. There's a few other elements to these programs besides the Fire Lab and the coaching and the teaching. And that's, we're going to do weekly mantra chanting. This is something Dr. Pillai wanted to introduce on our first session as a group, but we didn't get a chance to introduce it then. So we're going to introduce it here. There'll be weekly mantra chanting, Swarna Bhairava. And we have temple remedies at the 8 Ashta Bhairava. Bhairava, it's a temple in Tamil Nadu. We have divine prayers, which I'll be putting forth and praying at certain times that are powerful for Swarna Bhairava. They're and I may be in locations where it's a powerful place for Swarna Bhairava, whether it's a temple. Right now I'm sitting in a place which Dr. Pillai has sent me to, which is a day's drive to 11 gold mines. And this gold thing is real with him, because I drove to a gold mine one day, and as we were just getting just to the outskirts of the town where this gold mine was actually where it was, I could start to feel my body vibrate. And I knew I could feel his energy so powerfully. So gold is something we're going to work with a lot in the program. Hydration ceremonies to Kala Bhairava and the 8 Bhairavas. That also is something that I'll be doing. And stray dog feeding for our lovely furry friends, particularly in India, who don't have homes. So we'll be helping feed them. The dog, by the way, is the vehicle of Kala Bhairava. So he's very much interested in people who worship him to help dogs in any way. Yes, the advisory program. So this is a program that is going to be done it's called an advisory program for a reason. And that is that this is a program that I'll be doing more on my own on your behalf, and we'll be touching base pretty much once a month or more. There'll be, emails, updates coming back and forth. And what we're going to do is we're going to first, through Vedic astrology, identify the planets that are in the way of whatever you want to manifest, whatever your prayers are. I saw this a lot in the last program where people were praying for things, and I could see that there was some blocks there in some of the planets. So we want to be able to address those, and then be able to have remedies that can remedy those planets, so that we have a little bit of an opening or a lift, so that some manifestations can come through, or maybe all of them will come through. Anyway, it just gives you some relief. And then I'll be doing fire labs, and we have all sorts of things here. I'm sure you can read the list here: the planetary pujas, personalized power time prayers, sacred temple rituals, again, the hydration ceremonies, and the monthly feeding for stray dogs. Next slide. All right. So the next two slides that we have here are about the program overview, and we wanted to show you this. This is our sales page. And here there's 3 programs in this section, and there's the fundamental 2-month group program that has the group consciousness fire labs and the teaching. That's 2 months. And then the premiere is 4 months. It's also a group program with an individual coaching session, and it extends for 2 more months. So there's 2 more days of teaching, and then we'll do the mantra chanting in that level. And then the elite level, which also has everything from the previous levels in it, has 5 golden consciousness personal fire labs. So these are individual fire labs, and 2 coaching sessions, and 10 sacred temple remedies. This is at the 8 Bhairava temples, at the 8 Bhairava temple, and a personal power time prayer, which will be where I'm going to be doing the prayers for you on your behalf, like I said, either in a power location or at a power time. Next slide. Oh, by the way, Ronnie, can you go back to the previous slide? So the elite is a 5-month program. So it goes from a 2-month program, which is group, a 4-month program, which is group, and then a 5-month program, which is all personalized. Plus it gets all the group benefits as well from the earlier programs. Okay, we can go ahead and next slide. The advanced option. So this is the advisory program, and this is a 5-month program. And this is something, as I mentioned, if this is a program you'd like to do, you are welcome to do it. You can come to the fire labs. I am advising that I do some of these fire labs myself, or many of them myself. And the reason is that I may be doing them at times when you're not available, and it's the best time to do them. Or I may get an intuition that this is something that needs to be done for you. Or I may, it's more of an intuitive program. Well, I'll be doing a lot of this on your behalf and taking your feedback too. So understanding what's happening in your life, how are you feeling, what experiences are you having with Swarna Bhairava spiritually, and working towards your goals and consciously and all of that. So it's kind of a program where I will be taking feedback, but I'll be doing a lot of this, a lot of the ritual part of it anyway, on my own. Okay, we'll go to the next slide, which I think is Q&A. Lakshmi?
Sorry about that. We have a question here, and it is, how much time is needed to participate in the program? like hours per week?
Oh, hours per week.
Yeah.
Well, not much. Like what? So I would suggest, let's say at the level, the fundamental level, there'll be the teaching, and then there's the fire lab. So that happens once a month. So that's, basically, let's say 3 hours for the month. But I'm going to recommend that everybody sits and chants the mantra somewhat, or, walks around, does a walk. In fact, Dr. Pillai suggested, and this is what we're going to be doing with the mantra chanting, is you're welcome to sit, but he actually suggested that you move around, that you even go outside and walk around, because he's the god of the sun. But you don't have to go outside. You can also walk around your apartment. But it's that movement, something about the movement with Swarna Bhairava that helps the mantra go in deep and helps us kind of relate to it a little bit more. So I would just suggest that. So it really depends on the level, on the question. If you go up to the individual, which is the premier session, that is going to be a little bit more, but not much more, because you have the teaching, you have the mantras, the temple remedies you don't need to do. So, each day, I don't know, half hour at the most, but it's really up to you. I mean,
Right. So it's really about connecting. You'll be showing them how to connect, and then participating at the group fundamental level would be how many sessions are there? There's one fire lab,
2 a month.
two
Yeah.
per month for fire labs plus your teaching session. So that's not very much time. And then using that on a daily basis and connecting with him. So it's really about your prayer time, your chanting time. Speaking of Dr. Pillai, moving around, are you going to use any of our fabulous home videos of him chanting the mantra?
I am.
Great. These are so fun, guys, because at times Dr. Pillai will just spontaneously burst into prayer and chanting, and sometimes it's very heartfelt, and sometimes it's very like activated and moving. And so the Swarna Bhairava, some of them have been very moving, like here he's just like walking around, pacing around, like moving his arms like this, chanting more feverishly. So those will be fun to have exposure to.
Yeah. Yeah.
A question is, will you be showing us how to perform a fire lab for Swarna Bhairava?
I'm not going to teach how to do it, but as I do it, you're welcome to implement what you see me do.
Perfect.
And actually, that's a good it's a good question in another way too, because um, people do the fire lab on their own. So the whole thing is connecting. So people beyond the fire lab, they were connecting and doing their own fire labs, and basically based on how I've done it.
Mhm.
So I would highly recommend
Mhm.
that.
Okay, great. Yeah, so it won't be instructional per se, but we do have actually free video with Dr. Pillai on how to perform a fire lab. So you can do that and take Beth's lead, Swarna Bhairavi's lead on how to do it for Swarna Bhairava. Any other questions? So for those of you interested, the link is below the video. It's also pinned to the top of the chat if you're watching live. And when does this program start?
August 20th.
Okay, and when is our early savings session ending?
I think it's August 9th.
Yes, August 9th. I just looked at the page. So you can save up to $198, folks, if you register by August 9th. And the program itself starting on August 20th. So there's a little bit of time for you to consider this and work this into how you'd like to do the next couple months of your life. If Swarna Bhairava and Swarna Bhairava is for you, then take what you've learned here today from Swarna Bhairavi and begin working with him. And he'll probably reveal some messages to you And if it feels right for you to join the program, please, you'll want to do that before August 9th in order to receive the best savings for it. Will it run during the trip to India?
Yeah, that I knew that question was going to come up. We'll make all efforts to do it. So if there's like the group session and everything for, so it will overlap if you're in the second level or the third level. And so what we're going to do is do that at a time when the India trip is not going on. So either we'll do it earlier in the month or late, but we're going to plan around it, is what I'm saying.
Great. We appreciate that. And everyone who's joining the trip. Yeah, so we'll make it work for you folks, don't worry. And then can you guide us on how to stay positive in getting these opportunities for tough times, recession, job market is slow, or material things?
Staying positive. That is utter positivity is the faith thing.
Mhm.
You know, I think the best thing for staying positive is to know, is to stay in the now. And that's hard to do. But what I mean to say is to know that everything is going to change. Nothing stays the same. And if you're facing a difficult time, it's it's going to change. So the more you can be more present, more just quiet and not worrying so much, it helps a lot. I mean, I honestly, for me, you're asking me, I will put it at Swarna Bhairava's feet. I'll put it at Dr. Pillai's feet. So I have more peace in my life when something really difficult that comes up, because I'm like, this is something that I don't know the answer to, or it's beyond me to actually deal with it. So I need you to deal with it. Please come. Please help me with this because I know you can do it. So for me, that question coming to me is something that's very faith-based. So I would give it to a divine being, and I would try and stay as positive every single moment as I can. The hard thing with positivity, or the hard thing with our thoughts, is that we'll start to wander, we'll start to worry, we'll get into fear. This is exactly what Swarna Bhairava goes after, is he kind of pulls that fear out so that you don't end up lingering in that, and that kind of brings you down lower and lower and lower until you find yourself at a very low spot. And then you have to get out of that spot. So I try and stay in the now, and I give it to someone who I know can handle it better than I can.
Great, thank you. What Dr. Sorry, I'm still muted. What Dr. Pillai would normally say, or sometimes say, is when God becomes more real than the problem, then the problem doesn't exist. So if right now you're thinking about the tough time, the economy, the whatever, when in Swarna Bhairavi has been talking all about connecting with this God, this archetype. When the God, the archetype, whomever you're praying to, becomes more real, then the problems fade away. And like you said, giving it to the feet, and then living in that space, living in that faith. So thank you for that question.
Yeah, it's a good question.
Question is, are there Swarna Bhairava temples in Chennai? Where is that one that we went to? It was on I think the last India trip that Dr. Pillai attended, right?
Kala Bhairava is in many temples.
Yeah.
So in that regard, yes. Swarna Bhairava, there are Swarna Bhairava temples. There's one in Tiruvannamalai, in Arunachala. He's where he is alone right there. He's also He's in a lot of big temples. Swarna Bhairava. I'm not talking. Kala Bhairava is in a lot of temples, but some of the larger temples will have a Swarna Bhairava too. He's in Rameshram, um, at the big temple along the wells, and I know some people are going on the trip. So if you can dart into the Kala Bhairava, Swarna Bhairava shrine, there's like one on the side, and they'll open it up for you if you're nice to them. And then there's a big temple in Tiruvannamalai. There are temples around, but these are the ones that I know of that I've gone to. And of course, there's the Ashtami, the not the Ashtami, the 8 Bhairava temple that we do our rituals at in Tamil Nadu.
Great. Okay, I think we are good. That's all of our questions that have been answered. So we're going to wrap it up now, folks. Thank you, Swarna Bhairavi, for this presentation, the meditation, the program that you're going to be hosting. Are there any last words you'd like to say to folks?
Just no, thank you. Thank you for being here and being interested in the Swarna Bhairava, and just know that this new age thing, it's really here. And the more that becomes something of your consciousness, the more experiences you're going to have with it. So anyway, I just want to say good luck. Thank you. And it's been a real honor and pleasure to have this session with you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Thanks, folks, for being here, and just remembering the dates that are on the registration page. Please look at that page, see if this is something you're interested in. August 9th for the early bird savings, and August 20th for the program to begin. In the meantime, we wish you immense gold blessings. And there is a fire lab. I almost forgot. The fire lab is next weekend, a week from today, on but it's a different time. It's evening US, so it'll be 6:30 p.m. Pacific. Please make sure you have your name, you're registered into the free page that is below this video also, so that we can send you a reminder on that. So just make sure you add your name, your email address to that page. We'll post the link also in chat, but it's under the email, it's under this video, and we'll send you a reminder, an invitation to the free fire lab that Beth is going to do next weekend. So that's all. We'll see you then. Namaste.